Back in 1831, the twin Godavari districts of India were entirely trapped in a deadly, uncontrollable weather cycle. This timeline chart maps the 3-year progression that broke the region. Excessive rainfall flooded the area in 1831, followed immediately by a violent storm in 1832, and a devastating drought in 1833, causing crop yields to plummet to zero. With no food left, 1 in every 4 people perished. Main thoroughfares were strewn with skeletal remains, and survivors were reduced to a state where it was nearly impossible to tell if they were dead or alive. When environmental extremes swing wildly back and forth in such a short window, they create a total systemic collapse that outpaces any natural human adaptability. The psychological and economic desperation on the ground is best understood through the micro-story of a maidservant named Lachi. Lachi borrowed half a rupee from her employer, walked 10 miles to the market in Rajamundry, and purchased an infant girl. The economic floor had fallen out entirely. A human life was sold for mere pocket change. This drought was exacerbated by a strict bottleneck in the region. The zamindari system exercised monopolistic control over what little irrigation resources actually existed. This resource distribution chart shows exactly what the surviving farmers faced. 50% of any meager harvest went straight to the local landlords, the zamindars. The remaining 50% was claimed by moneylenders. The net output left for the farmer was zero. Pushed to the brink, locals began hand-digging tiny water pits into the dirt, standing guard over them day and night to prevent their neighbors from stealing a single drop. The famine resulted from a catastrophic combination of deadly weather anomalies, failing regional infrastructure, and inequitable resource distribution. The employer who loaned Lachi that half rupee was Sir Arthur Cotton, an engineer with a lifelong obsession with water diversion. Even as a child, his mother would find him carving miniature canals into his bread to playfully redirect his milk. As an adult, that obsession sharpened. While his contemporaries focused on modern infrastructure trends like railways, Cotton ignored them entirely, pouring his energy into agricultural survival. Looking at this topographical map of the Godavari River, high-volume water flows uselessly to the sea. Cotton proposed a massive barrage line across it, intercepting the water and redirecting it inland through a sprawling capillary system to democratize farm access. Cotton's engineering premise relied on treating water as a mechanical resource to be harnessed and distributed. Construction began in 1847 under grueling conditions. Despite extreme physical frailty, Cotton surveyed 10 miles of this hostile terrain on horseback every single day. The worksite itself was chaotic. As workers shattered rocks to build the dam, shards would fly into the air and bombard Cotton's own roofless house. Nightfall brought a different set of terrors. The surrounding fields were filled with howling jackals, and workers routinely discovered venomous cobras coiled right beneath their pillows. Amidst the chaos of the build, Cotton maintained a dual mission. He brought in the Godavari Delta mission team to share the gospel and provide spiritual enrichment to the labor force. By April 1852, the colossal dam was complete. The final price tag was a remarkably low £150,000, a number that completely stunned the global engineering community and the East India Company administration. The barrage was willed into existence through a combination of extreme personal sacrifice and precise logistical efficiency. The immediate consequence of the completed barrage was absolute. Famine was permanently averted in the Godavari districts. The skeletal graveyards of the 1830s were replaced. The region became an endless green expanse, a highly fertile rice bowl fed by straight, reliable irrigation canals. That single £150,000 expenditure completely rewrote the biological and economic survival of hundreds of thousands of people. Civic infrastructure provides a permanent biological buffer between a population and recurring cycles of disaster. This raises a question, originally posed by historian Mr. Parthasarathi in 1914. Why didn't the older bridges built by ancient kings in the region survive alongside Cotton's work? Those older structures were funded by wealthy elites, strictly to garner fame and public esteem. They lacked any genuine mandate for public welfare, and when they fell into disrepair, there was no system in place to maintain them. Cotton's utilitarian infrastructure, on the other hand, left such an enduring impact that local Brahmins still invoke his name, Cotton Doragaru, during their daily morning purification rituals. Performative infrastructure inevitably crumbles into dust. Engineering built to democratize survival achieves a localized form of immortality.